Welcome back to On the Light, a podcast dedicated to illuminating the profound teachings and legacy of Yogacharya B.K.S. Iyengar. I'm your host, Susan Johnson. In this episode, I am honored to speak with Eyal Shifroni. Eyal is a senior Iyengar Yoga teacher from Israel, a longtime student of the Iyengar family, and the author of 9 books on yoga practice and philosophy. Eyal began studying Iyengar Yoga in 1982 and has spent more than 4 decades immersed in the study, practice, and teaching of yoga. Over the years, he made many trips to Pune to study directly with B.K.S. Iyengar. In addition to his teachings, Eyal has made significant contributions to our tradition through his writing, his translations of the Tree of Yoga and Light on Pranayama into Hebrew, and his thoughtful exploration of yoga philosophy. In our conversation, Eyal reflects on his first encounters with yoga, his years of study at RIMYI, the importance of self-practice, and the responsibility we all share in preserving the integrity of the method. As he says, we have to keep the knowledge alive and pure. It is a simple statement, but one that carries profound implications for students and teachers alike. Please enjoy this conversation with Eyal Shifroni. Hello, Eyal. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. It's a great honor to meet you.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yes. I'd like to first ask you, how did you initially learn and come to Iyengar Yoga?
Okay, so I was always, as a child, fascinated by the stories about the yogis. It was always like something mysterious to me that all the marvelous feats that yogis were told to be able to do. And even I have photos. We studied the subject of India when I was 10 years old in school. And I have photos doing some asanas with Indian customs and so on. So when I finished school, I had to go to the army because it's compulsory here, unfortunately. But when I was released, I was after the army, as a tradition in Israel, you go for 1 year around the world to clean your head from the service. But then as a student in Jerusalem, I was looking immediately for yoga. And I came across a couple that were teaching yoga. I didn't know it was Sivananda yoga, but at that time, I had no idea about methods and so on.
Right.
And I studied 4 years with them, and then I went to TTC, teacher training of Sivananda. And over there was a lady that talked about Iyengar. This was the first time that I heard the name Iyengar. And there was one teacher in Jerusalem where I was a student. So I started to study with her. Her name was Dina Boger. She already passed away, but she was the first teacher in Israel. And I like shifted to Iyengar. So this in 82 I started Iyengar.
Okay.
I mean, I met Dina and I started to study with her. And in 84 I left I finished my studies. So I left Jerusalem. And since then I did not have like a teacher that I go to every week. So I was on my own, more or less, and I don't know, the practice was so good for me, so I continue.
Yes.
And by nature, I have a disciplined person, so I continue my self-practice. And whenever there was, sometimes I used to go to Tel Aviv to classes, but whenever the senior teacher started to come to Israel, like Javar, Bir Jumeta, Gene Maslin many times, and then Faik Birya came, Pachi,
Hmm.
and Corinne Birya, and so on. So I studied with many, many workshops in Israel and also outside Israel. I went to study, and then I remember in '86, I asked Dina, I told her I want to go to Pune.
Hmm.
So we wrote a letter, and Pandu, the secretary over there in the institute, he said 88. He wrote to me back 88.
Okay.
At that time, 2 years from now, wow, it is such a long time.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
now when I look back at it, so at 88, I went first time.
Okay.
Um, it was pretty difficult that time because Israelis could not get a visa to India, but only like it was called a landing permit.
Okay.
And you had to go with a group to enter India with a group. And then we splitted. So I went to Pune and I first met Guruji and Pachanji and Gitaji. And at that time, Guruji was still teaching. He
Hmm.
was almost 70 years old. In
Okay.
December, 88 December, he was 70. So he was still teaching. He like retired when he was 70. But of course, he kept teaching and coming to therapy and traveling the world and many things. Yes, but
Right.
formally, he did not have like a formal class. But in June 88, he still had.
Wow. You're lucky.
Uh,
You're one of the few.
yes, I was lucky.
Yes.
And some classes he taught together with Prashant, I remember. And this was an experience. I was not ready. I was not, I could not absorb, like maybe I absorbed 10% of what
Yeah.
he was saying there. But the intensity was amazing. And he was a very demanding teacher. And you cannot fool around with him. You have
No,
to
you
really,
can.
because you see everything. He sees everything. And I remember that when the class ended, I could hardly walk because all my body was caught when muscles were. And I was living in the CPS ashram, which is only 10 minutes or 15 minutes walk from the institute.
Mhm.
I can hardly get there. And I immediately slept like 2 hours to recover from the intense effort. So
Wow.
it was really, uh, and then I kept coming, and every time I got, it's like a new layer of understanding, new layer of knowledge.
Right.
That, and then you realize that things that you heard many years ago, and finally you understand them. Finally, like
There's
the
always kind of
talking.
a different
Yeah.
level of
Yes.
understanding as you progress along. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
So
Mhm.
it's like, I don't know, this image came to my mind now that it's like geological, that there are layers of, so there are layers of understanding. And in the first time, of course, I couldn't understand everything, or I mean, the most of it I couldn't understand. But slowly, slowly coming back and continue practicing and studying. And
Mhm.
so for 30 years, I used to come like every other year, and sometimes every year also. And
Mhm.
I participated in one intensive in '93 with it was with Gitaji formally, but Iyengar B.K.S was there all the time, also
Mhm.
demonstrating, talking. Uh, yeah.
So, do you recall any very significant lessons you learned or just experiences that you had with Guruji?
Yeah, well, I had many encounters first of all, because I had questions about the translation. Actually, I translated almost 3 books, but
Mhm.
okay, I translated The Tree of Yoga and Light on Pranayama.
Huh?
And when Light on Life came out, I started to translate it. I made an agreement with a publisher in Israel, but they just forgot to ask for the copyrights.
Oh.
So after I translated like 2/3 of the book, I saw it out on the stores in Hebrew.
Oh, no.
because another publisher asked for the copyrights and they publish it. So
Oh.
it's very unfortunate because their translation is not
Mm.
it's not so good. I mean, it can be better.
Yeah.
I think I could have done it better.
Yeah. That's too bad.
So, but anyway, I had, especially in light and pranayama, because Nutritive Yoga was quite clear, the language, but in light and pranayama, I had many questions. So I met him and talked with him. But if you like experienced that once I was doing like Shirshasana, a long time Shirshasana, maybe 20 minutes in the practice hall, and he was there. And I had no idea that he's watching me at all, but it turned out that he did. And then I came to the library in the afternoon and he asked me, where your mind was in your legs all the time? And this kind of question I didn't know how to answer. How can the mind be for 20 minutes in the legs? So I was like embarrassed from this question. I didn't know what to answer. And yeah, and then when I got my assessments with Faik Birya all the way up to senior intermediate 2. And then I asked Birya, what about senior intermediate 3? So he said, I don't assess for this level. You have to send photos to Guruji.
Okay.
And there was a syllabus, so I made all photos of all the asanas in the syllabus, and I sent to him. And he gave me the promotion. He wrote me a letter, but he said, next time you come to Pune, come to the library and we'll talk about it. And so I came, and then we were sitting together with the photos, and he was drawing lines on the photos. Here, it should be like this, and here it should be like that. It's not straight. So he gave me so many corrections that I didn't understand why he gave me the certificate, but and then he told me, okay, come in one of the day in the practice hall and I'll show you. And he told me, well, I'm watching you practice already 20 years. And I didn't know that I was watched, because he's practicing there, I'm practicing, but he sees everything, he could see. And so he gave me, a few tips about the practice. And of course, whenever he works with somebody, everybody in the practice hall, they come closer to see and to learn something. So, yeah, and I also happened to see him in some like more social encounters. First, at the end of the intensive, they invited all the participants to like a dinner in the space between the institute and their house. There's some passage that, and he came and sit next to me, and we started to talk about the situation in Israel, about the religious Hasidic Jews that he saw in Europe, and he told me, they are very intelligent but very narrow-minded. Which I agreed, because it's true, they are very intelligent. It's many of them, but they are really like this. And we talked about the situation in Israel. At that time, it was optimistic because Rabin was the president, and there was like peace talks, and unfortunately, it didn't go further. Yeah. So yeah, he was a very strong personality, a very demanding teacher, and there was a big difference between meeting him in the practice hall, in the class or in the therapy, where it was very tough and very demanding, and in a social encounter. Like I remember once, because I had a good connection with the Mehta family, with Birju and Rajvi, when Birju first came to Israel, I was hosted, him and his family came with his family. And then I came with my wife and daughters to Mumbai and Pune, and we visited their house. So they invited me to a meeting that was in Mumbai, that Guruji gave a talk and a demonstration about yoga with addicted people.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and this was very interesting to see it and to be present in that occasion. And then there was the movie showed part of it. There was a movie about Guruji, the man and something like this. I don't remember. Very good movie about his life, but especially about his work, his compassionate work
Mm.
uh, with addiction people and therapy and then there was like a party with Mumbai teachers,
Mhm.
which I always also I fortunate to participate because then with the Mumbai teachers because I know them from he was used to teach there for like I think 45 years every week and go to Mumbai to
Mhm.
teach. So I felt very like at home, very comfortable, and joking and telling stories and so on. So I saw him, in a different side of him. Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
yeah.
Mhm.
Also in the library, he was kind of soft, not like
Uh-huh.
library is downstairs. The upstairs in the practice hall is, the teacher, the lion from Pune, as he's
Yeah.
called. But in the library, you could talk with him, you can ask questions, you can,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, that's nice.
um,
When I
so,
went to Pune when he was alive, it was in 2006 and 2009, and unfortunately, I felt too, I don't know if you felt like this in the beginning, just kind of too shy and reserved, and I didn't venture and go sit in the library with him. I really regret that now.
mm.
But yeah.
No, he was, frightening. The first time I saw him,
Mm,
it's like, and I was surprised he's such a short man,
mm,
but his energy is,
yeah.
it's amazing that, when he used to come to the therapy, we are in the middle of the therapy, pulling ropes, helping, and then he comes in. And immediately you can feel that something happens, it's some buzz and his energy. But
Uh-huh.
when he was practice, often when he was like, sometimes he was like teaching during the practice, but then he went into his pose, and he was very absorbed, and it's like it was like a disappearing, like
Mm,
so much inwardness that you could pass just next to him without noticing him because you were so much absorbed in the asana that you could hardly feel him there. There's
wow.
such a big difference than when he was teaching or when he was in therapy, where he was everywhere.
Mhm.
And I remember once I was helping, and then he told me, "Oh, oh," and I didn't understand what he meant. I thought he wanted to explain me something about rope. And said, "Hey, you stupid man, you want me to get the rope?" and yeah, it's not nice to hear from him, and it's kind of funny because in Lighten Yoga he writes about the difference between no, in the Tree of Yoga he
Mhm.
writes about the difference between children and adults. And he said, children, if you say to them something like that, they will forget after one day and they
Mm,
playing. And if you say to adults something like a stupid man, you remember it. And this was more than, I don't know, 30 years ago, and I still remember it.
of
But,
course.
in other time, he told me that I'm intelligent, so, so it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How about memories of Gitaji?
Hmm. Okay, so Gita Ji also was a very tough teacher, very demanding.
Mm,
And but she was really, I mean, they're all teachers. Everyone is on, but the teaching. I remember even Guruji when he was like old, like 85, 90, when Abhijata was teaching, he was there lying on the Viparita Dhanasana bench,
yeah.
and as if again he's absorbed inside, but then he was aware of what is happening, and every now and then he could not hold. He wanted to show, to explain another thing.
Yeah.
Like the teacher in him, so he called Abhijata, and then he told her, tell them to do this and this. And then Abhijata was, shouting it to everybody. So he was, and the same Gita was also a teacher. And I think what was special, that I remember that sometimes she could put a mirror on you, which is not always nice, but it's something that you take with you, remember. Like, for example, a small example that in the intensive, I think she explained something about some muscle, I think trapezius muscle, I'm not sure. And I didn't know what it is. She realized. And then she said something, so you didn't solve the problem, what is a trapezius? So like just saying effect. She didn't explain to me what it is, but just, okay, I have to prepare myself and to know. So she puts a mirror for some weakness that you have. And then it's something that stays with you, and so she was, this is just one example, but I had few encounters like this with her. And behind her toughness and the way she taught, you could see that her compassion also. I remember, like, for example, there was a period that there was one student which was mentally sick. And he was like shouting, he could not control his speech. He was shouting in the middle of the class, and it was disturbing. And I don't know if I could handle or contain someone like this in the class, but she, and he used to come like often. And, I mean, a few times a week, and she accepted him, and she treated him, and taught him, was with a lot of kindness. This was another thing that I didn't hear myself, but I heard that in Europe when she was teaching, she said, how come all the students are so, in fit, thin, in good shape? Where are all the fat people, the people that has difficulties in the body? Where are they? Yoga is not only for the fit. Also, in Pune, you see all kinds of people.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you see, and they accept everyone. Of course, in the therapy, but also in the regular classes, you see people with limitations, with obesity, with different things, and everybody, and even there's some kind of that they are more, they get more attention, they get more from Gita or from.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because often in the West, yoga became like more fitness, unfortunately. But that's not the way the Iyengars were teaching, of course.
No. Yeah.
You know about the B.K.S, what Guruji said that in the early days, people say B.K.S is a beat, kick, and slap.
Yes.
A beat, kick, and slap. And in the, like when he was getting older, and said it's beauty, knowledge, and serenity, or something like this. Because
yes, I think that last one is more accurate. Yeah. How about your experiences with Prashantji as a teacher?
Prashant, so he's a philosopher.
Yes.
And he gives a lot of inspiration. And what especially, for me was that the way he connects the practice with life. for him, he doesn't like so much to talk about technique. He said, okay, you know all this technique, you're advanced students, so I should not tell you lift your kneecaps and do your shoulder blades and so on. You know that. And he's talking about philosophy of yoga. He's very versed, in all the scriptures. But also about I remember, I think also the first time I was there, Shant was teaching, and somebody was doing Adho Mukha Svanasana, and he called everybody. And I thought he's going to give some, details, some instructions. And he said, what did doing Adho Mukha Svanasana over the years taught you about your life, about life? Did it make you more considerate, more kind, more... and this will, for me, at that time was a shock. I think it was in 98. Because I didn't think on this way, that way at that time. But it became actually exploration for me, because I think a lot and write about the connection between the practice on the mat and outside of the mat, and how yoga can change our personality and make us better human beings, because this is, after all, what we are doing. It's not just to do Adho Mukha Svanasana or Urdhva Dhanurasana. It's to become a better human beings. So I think he gave that side, which was for me important. And he was in the early days, it was very accessible, so I had many questions. I used to come to him after class, or said, okay, come later to my room. And so I had some talks with him about questions and answers.
Yes, he's so generous in that way.
Yeah. So yeah, being there in the early days, when I came there first time, I was already 24, and I already had a family, 2 children, and I wanted to stay there for a long time, like for a year or so, and I also found a job. But we were divorced in that time, and I couldn't bring my ex-wife and children to Pune. So, and I didn't want to leave them, so I gave up the idea. But I was already in contact with the University of Pune to study Sanskrit, and with a company that, because I'm a computer science, I used to be a computer scientist, so I could work in computers in India, in Pune. But then I dropped it because it was, in family-wise, it was not appropriate.
I see. Wow. So your studies would be like month-long studies, kind of the typical duration as when you would go?
Yeah. Well, no, I used to stay for 1 month.
Oh, yes.
Yes. But I wanted to stay more, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. Yes, it's difficult.
Yes. Yeah, once you have a family, it's... And I started quite early with the children.
Yeah. Did any of your children take to yoga?
Yeah, I have actually 4 children, because I have another wife now, and 2 of them are now practiced quite seriously. One of them even started teacher training with me, but she did 1 year, and then she started to study music in Holland. So she didn't have time to continue. But she goes over there to a teacher, a younger teacher, every week. And also the other daughter lives in Barcelona. She goes to weekly classes for a younger teacher.
That's
And,
great.
yes.
Yeah.
So, and the other 2, they had periods of time. Yeah. Also another daughter, she also did parts of the teacher training and even started to teach in my center. But then she had some medical issues, and she stopped, and now she has babies, so she...
Yeah. Well, something else I wanted to ask you about. I know you've written many books. like you already mentioned, the Tree of Yoga and Light on Pranayama. You've translated those into Hebrew. And I'm curious as how has the process of translating and that writing influenced your own understanding of the teachings?
Yeah, very much because if you want to really learn something, teach it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you teach, it's a responsibility, and you cannot come to the class when you're not ready. You have to prepare yourself. In yoga, you have to practice a lot in order to. And the same goes with the like writing books, because when you write book, it's a responsibility. Like you share knowledge, and
Yeah.
you want to be precise and sure that the knowledge is correct. So you have to check yourself also with your own practice, and also with go to teachers. And the first book that I wrote, A Chair for Yoga, I sent to Guruji, and he gave me some comments and told me to improve some of the photos. And I did so, of course. And then when I wrote the second book, Proper Yoga Standing Poses, it was already, it was not able already, it was already too, like it was 94, 95, it was not able to, it was already too late.
Oh,
And yeah, actually I was kind of lucky to be there when he passed away
oh.
in 2014, August. I used to come in August because in August weather in Pune is better than in Israel. Israel is very hot, and in Pune there is monsoon. So
Yes.
and also August is quite, the school over here in Israel is quite empty
Mm-hmm.
because vacation. So I was there, and we knew that something is going, that he's not well. He was hospitalized. So I woke up in the morning and I opened Facebook. I saw that he passed away. So immediately I went to the institute, and it was a very touching moment to be there because, usually you cannot go into their house.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Guruji used to sit like on a chair like this, enjoying. And when you pass to the class, after the class, you could see him sometimes exchange a few words if you're brave enough.
Yes.
But I never entered the house or anything, and it is kind of close. And that moment, they are very open. So they form a line of people, students that came to to give the condolences,
Mm-hmm.
right? The condolences.
Mm-hmm.
And Gitaji and Ambitacha was standing in the front of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and you come, you say a few words to them, and then they brought the body, and Guruji put them inside the one room, and you could be alone with him for a few minutes.
Wow.
Like say goodbye, say thank you, so the gratitude that we feel to him, to what he brought to the world and to us. So, like I prostrated in front of him, I stayed quietly a few minutes, and then there was a Q&A to continue and to let other people go. And then in the afternoon there was in the crematorium there was a whole ceremony, a funeral, a very long ceremony. Burned the body. So I filmed everything, and when I came back to Israel, I showed to all the our association, this the ceremony of the burial, the funeral, very traditional, Brahmin funeral.
Mm.
So this was a very special moment to be in Pune.
Yes.
I was lucky to be there. Actually, it was on the 20th of August, and I had a ticket to go back to 21st. Usually I stayed until the end of the month because I don't want to miss the pranayama
Mm-hmm.
week. But my mother was very sick, so I change the ticket to fly back on the 21st, but it happened on the 20th. So I did miss a little bit of events that were in the institute. The institute was closed after that for some time, but there were special events. And,
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, I think, yeah, it was kind of already maybe too late. I wish I would come in the 70s because then there were much fewer people, and people that came in the 70s really had personal relationship with Guruji. I don't, have this. I did, talk with them many times, especially about the books that I translated and about the assessment that of the senior intermediate 3, and in other times, but I didn't have a close personal relationship like the more senior teachers that came in the 70s.
Yeah.
But still, it was something to be there when he was alive, when he was still teaching. And
Definitely. Yeah. Pretty fortunate.
yeah, maybe it's a karma. I don't know what brought me to yoga. Why I was fascinated as a child, and why, when I was able to, after the army service, immediately I was looking for yoga. And from the first class, even though it was Sivananda, it was not Iyengar, but I felt something special, and I knew I didn't have any doubts. I know this is for me, and I'm going to continue on that path.
I do believe that's karma.
Yeah, I think so. It must be. Otherwise, what is this attraction?
Exactly. Yeah. So I have a couple questions about Israel. First, how does the practice of Iyengar Yoga help you to cope with the difficult situation that you have in your country?
Yeah, so yeah, we do face very difficult situations internally, and externally. I mean, the government, which we demonstrate all the time against. We don't like government, and with the war around us. And I think yoga gives you like a center and kind of stability that, when there is a storm, some trees are uprooted because they don't have roots enough, And some tree, okay, they shake, but they stay. And that's, I think yoga gave me that, helped me to, because it was very, especially the 7th of October, 23, it was devastating. It was kind of a shock, and many people, really went into crisis. And of course, it was touching because some of my family members were murdered in one of the kibbutzim, near Gaza. But I was not like devastated. I was still, I maintained the practice. I practice a lot of standing, which, grounding to working on the roots, on the stability, mental, physical stability, and also backbends, which open the chest and, uplift.
Yes.
Not to go, because many people went into depression, post-traumatic experiences. If you, open up your chest, it's hard not to be joyful, even if the situation is difficult.
Yeah.
So even it was a shock, but yoga gives a firm ground to cope with this. And I really felt at the time that the gift of yoga. I feel it every day, but that time especially.
Yeah.
Like I have a small ceremony that every time after every practice, I sit quietly for a few minutes and I think about Guruji with a lot of gratitude, like, sit like this and just share my respects or whatever,
Yeah.
my gratitude to him for all this knowledge, all this depth of knowledge that he got to and he shared with us.
Mhm. Yeah. Many people that I've spoken to have commented on how fortunate we all are to be alive during his.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
And he said, okay, the senior teachers are like my children, and then their students are the grandchildren, and then grandchildren. So we have responsibility to, to share the knowledge and to keep the knowledge pure.
Mhm.
I mean, to keep the system pure. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it in my school here in center here in Israel, and also when I teach workshops and retreats over the world.
Mhm.
And I try to talk about philosophy, about the meaning of yoga. There's a lot of quotes from Ashtadal Yoga Mala.
Mhm.
Talks about various subjects of,
Mhm.
really how yoga connects to life.
Mhm. Something else I wanted to ask is I've noticed, especially the first two times I was in Pune, there's always a pretty large batch of students from Israel. Is
Yeah.
it seem like it's uh, very well known, the method very well known?
Yeah, it is very well known in Israel. In Tel Aviv, like there's so many centers and teachers who teach privately, like in every second street there is a Iyengar Yoga.
Hmm.
In the other parts of the country also, in the recent years, we are more like covering different places in the country. Even there is a teacher in Eilat, which is the most southern city of Israel, and there's a teacher in the north. Now there's a teacher, one of my students moved to the Golan Heights, and she's teaching over there. So yeah, there are a lot of interest and many students and many certified teachers also.
Hmm. Wow, that's
Yeah,
remarkable.
the
And
small, quite a small population.
uh-huh.
Mm,
It's like here in the US, if I say I'm a yoga practitioner, I teach yoga, and people will say, "Oh, what kind?" And I say, "Iyengar yoga," and then I have to like repeat it several times because they've never heard of it. And so I think that would
Iyengar, what is
be
Iyengar?
refreshing to be somewhere where everyone just understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, here it's quite known.
Hmm.
Maybe because we need yoga.
Hmm.
Maybe because I don't know, Jewish people are always looking for new ideas, for new, I don't know, but it is a fact.
Spiritual connection, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you had mentioned that when you were 10, you were studying about India, and
Yes,
that's.
yeah, and I have some in Indian custom, with this tikka here and doing
Hmm.
some asanas. So I have some photos of this.
Hmm. That's very interesting. Well, you touched on this a little bit, but as you know, the theme of this podcast, The Light, is about preserving and sharing the living legacy of B.K.S. Iyengar. And I'm wondering, in your view, what aspects of Guruji's teachings are most important for the future generations to understand and preserve this method?
Okay, so I touched a little bit on it. So thank you for, first of all, we have to keep the knowledge alive and pure and correct,
Hmm.
not to distort the system, to follow, his instructions and his ways of teaching. I mean, everyone has his own personality. I cannot be Guruji and
Hmm.
softer. I'm not, such a demanding. I don't also have this authority, like, but I try to keep it pure and to teach only what I learned from him and what I understood through my practice.
Hmm.
I don't teach everything that I heard in Pune, only what I, internalized, like, and realized through my own practice. But everything that I teach is from the method, from him or from senior teachers, like like Birya, Birjumeta, Jabbar.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't teach everything that I got, but everything that I teach is things that I got from there. So this is one thing, but maybe the more important thing is that for him, yoga was like a life, of course, a way of life, a devoted way of life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yoga is not just something that you go once a week to gym or to, I don't know, to some kind of activity. Yoga should be a way of life, that's something that you live, not only on the mat when you practice, but something that in your behavior, in your way of conduct, the yamas and the yamas. So for Goji, it was the whole system that covers the whole life. And its devotion was amazing. So I think this is something that we have to keep.
Yeah.
That yoga is not, it's something very deep and very, no, I'm looking for words in English. Preserve it. It goes all the way to your life and transform you from inside. So this is what Goji, I think, wanted to convey, and this way to keep. And I'm glad that we have a Bijata and Prashant that keep this practice. I think Abhijata is an amazing teacher, and she's studied a lot with Guruji, and she's very intelligent. She can convey the teaching. So far we are in a good shape, but it's important to keep it, for generations, because it's such a gift for the society, for the humanity. We should share it.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So apart from the knowledge, like all the instructions, the precision, the alignment, and all this that we have to keep, but more like the spirit of that the all Ashtanga yoga should be in place. Or if you take Kriya yoga, tapas, vadhyaya, ishvara, pranidhana. So not only tapas, but also the self-study and the kind of surrendering devotion that should be there. Ishvara, pranidhana.
Yes. It's very important.
Thank you for.
Are there any other stories or anything else you want to share?
Maybe about the books that how did I start to write?
Yeah.
So that are curious. So luckily or not luckily, when I write in the notebook, it's a mess.
Okay.
When I read it later, I don't understand my own writing, my own scripture. So I decided to make it, and I learned so many things in workshops in Pune. So I wanted to put it a little bit more. So if I prepare a class or a workshop, I'll have something written. So I started, and in the computer, I'm very organized. I have the files, I have directories, everything in place. And of course, you can read what you write, and you can always change it. So I started to write in Hebrew for myself, actually, and put photos also of the different variations that I learned with a chair, with ropes. And then I said, okay, if it's so useful for me, maybe it will be also useful for other teachers. So I published the first version of the chair for yoga, which was in Hebrew, and only 300 copies. And I brought it with me to some workshop, and it was sold out immediately.
Wow.
People liked it, and in the beginning I said, okay, that's it. But then there was one senior teacher, Tzipi Wiener, that in Israel, that she took it and she gave workshop about the chair in United States. And everybody told her, where is this book? You should have it in English. So she came back to me, and she's also a demanding teacher. She said, you have to translate it to English. In the beginning, I didn't think it's such a big thing. And okay, I just wrote some notes for myself and tried to make it organized. And he said, no, you have to translate it to English. So I translated it, and when translating also I improve it. And then remember that I made like a video to promote it, like to advertise it. And it became viral in Facebook, among the yoga community,
Yeah.
not million followers, but thousands. And
Yeah.
people started, and the book was not ready yet. So I felt like I should have waited maybe with the promotion. But I saw the interest, and then, this book is still my bestseller. Sold on
Wow.
Amazon every month. And then I said, okay, I can share knowledge that is valuable for people. So let me, do. Because I studied computer science. I also made a PhD, and I have some experience in writing. So I work in Israel for the Open University. And I wrote a book about computer science, but I learned how to write in an organized, concise, and clear way. I hope so.
Yeah.
And so I think I combined, because not many teachers has a lot of knowledge, have a lot of knowledge, of course. But not all of them can put it in writing. And I think I combined this, my ability to write with my knowledge in yoga from my practice and study. And I get so many positive feedbacks that, and each one of them make me happy and make me want to continue with this hard work, because it's quite hard work.
Yes.
Write, you have to edit it, you have to take photos, demonstration, and then again. So yeah, it's quite, but it is worth the effort.
Yeah.
So I wrote 9 books.
Wow. I didn't realize it was
Yes.
9.
Yeah,
Okay.
7 are more like technical, like 4 volumes of props for yoga, about standing, about sitting and forward extensions. The third one about inversions, and the last one, the fourth one, about backbends. Different ways to use props in this family person. And 2 versions of chair for yoga, the first one, and then after a few years I learned many more variations with the chair, so I extended it. So it's called the extended chair for yoga. And then 2 books which are more like theoretical, the Psychophysical Lab, that I wrote with a friend, a student, and a professor of philosophy. So this deals with the connection between body and mind, and how yoga can shed light on this philosophical issue of what is the connection between the body and the mind. The Western philosophy and civilization, like there's a split between the body and the mind. And in the Eastern, there's no split, and the yoga shows that you see so well, so clear the connection between the body and the mind. So
Yeah.
and then yoga in nature and how to use natural props is something that I like to practice in nature. I practice a lot on the beach.
Yeah. I want to hear about
Yeah,
that.
so yeah. So I show, for Iyengar Yoga, when I say, okay, go out to nature and practice, I said, what about props? I said, you can find them in nature, and even better props. So this book is not just, to practice in nature, but how to use props, natural props. And now maybe I'm thinking about to write a more like personal book about, to include sequences, to write a book about sequences, but to make it more like personal. I don't know if it will come out, because it's more like to take different stories from my life and to see how yoga helps me to cope and what kind of sequences I used. More sequences, but it has mental effects that build confidence, that helps you to combat fear, insecurity, or gloomy states, make yourself happy again, how to relax, how to balance yourself to become more stable mentally, and so on. It's a big project, so I don't want a commitment, but I think I think I want to write such a book, but I don't know if
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should. I think that would be very interesting.
Thank you.
You know, the Prashant has talked about how we should uh in addition to our practice of yoga, we should be talking about yoga and writing about
Right.
yoga. And
Yes.
as a
Yeah.
school teacher myself, I know that, I
Mm.
teach that, when the kids, students of any kind, write about what they're learning, it deepens the
Right.
knowledge.
Yeah. When you have to formulate in words, you have to think about it.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. You have to put it in a little bit more way that will go to your cognition.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important. I mean, well,
Mm-hmm.
words are also limited. There are many things like
Sure.
the effects of the asana that you feel are difficult. And also Prashant said that you have to be a poet in order to really, only poetry maybe can express this. So I'm not a poet, um, but still there are so many things that you can share by language, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah.
So, and you can spread it because you can teach only a certain amount of people in person,
Hmm.
but many more people can read the books.
Yeah, definitely.
And Guruji was writing books, and he was
Who's writing books? Yes.
so not
Yeah.
that I not that I compare
No, I
myself with him.
know. Right. And Prashant is writing
Yeah,
books.
Prashant is writing. Yeah, he
Yes.
also wrote.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a little project I'm starting myself.
Oh, really? Oh, what kind of project? Mhm.
Well, this is a project that came from this podcast when I interviewed Prashant's sisters, Savita and Vanita, and I
Mhm.
had an interview with them, and they were talking about their mother and the recipes that she would make, the Iyengar traditional food. And in that episode, I kind of joked, and said, "Oh, we should have an Iyengar family cookbook." And yeah, yeah. And then some other interviews went by where their recipes, their food that they would share at the intensives came up about how good it was. And I thought maybe this is something that I should explore. And
It's
so
good.
I am taking it on, and it will,
Nice.
Savita has given me a lot of recipes,
Wow.
and I want to really make this be kind of a memoir, something to pay homage to
Yeah.
Amini and her contribution to yoga and how she supported Guruji. So,
Yeah. Very, very interesting. And I'm sure my wife is very much into cooking.
okay,
Yeah. So I think she will like it. So whenever the book is out, please let me know.
I
And
will.
we'll get a copy. Definitely.
Well, thank you, Eyal.
You're welcome.
Really been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Be
Okay.
well.
Thank you for listening to this episode with Eyal Shifroni. Throughout our discussion, Eyal returned to a theme that feels especially important in our time: the responsibility to preserve the teachings without distorting them. He spoke about teaching only what he has genuinely understood through practice, and about the importance of keeping the knowledge alive, not as a fixed set of instructions, but as a living tradition that must be studied, practiced, and realized. I am grateful to Eyal for sharing his memories, insights, and decades of experience within the Iyengar tradition. Before we close, I'd also like to invite listeners to visit my website, Iyengar Yoga with Susan, where you can learn more about my ongoing cookbook project inspired by the culinary traditions of the Iyengar family. This project seeks to preserve and share not only treasured family recipes, but also the stories, culture, and spirit of hospitality that nourished the household of B.K.S. Iyengar and supported his life's work. The cookbook grew directly out of conversations from On the Light and continues to evolve through interviews, research, and collaboration with the Iyengar family. The project documents recipes, traditions, and memories connected to the Iyengar lineage and its culture of nourishment and care. If you enjoy On the Light, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Click on Support the Show in the show notes. A small monthly donation helps support the continued production of this podcast. Until next time, namaskar.